Let's talk more about potential deals for big deals in the media sector as a result of everything after a day when AT&T and Discovery revealing their plans to merge WarnerMedia with Discovery. Joining us right now is Cara Lombardo, mergers and acquisitions reporter at the Wall Street Journal. Craig Moffett is here, founder and senior analyst at Moffett Nathanson. Good morning to both of you. Craig, I wanted to start with you just to try to understand when you think about sort of the chess pieces here. I know you have very strong views about AT&T's role in everything that's happened, but how do you see the chess pieces on the table as they are today now?
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me, Andrew. So, look, I think the question that people started to jump to immediately yesterday was for the major players who are left out here, Comcast and Viacom. What do they do next, and what's their next chess move? But if everybody's trying to get scale to be relevant compared to Netflix, Disney, and now Discovery and WarnerMedia, but people left Amazon out of that equation, and I think Amazon, simply because of who they are and how deep their pockets are, had to be considered starting yesterday as one of the real survivors here. And MGM is an interesting move. It brings a library, not a lot of new content development, but I think it just speaks to the role that Amazon is likely to play over the next 5 years or so in really building a streaming platform that will be very much one of the majors alongside Disney and Netflix.
Okay, so Cara, play this out. If we have now Amazon, Comcast, we've got Viacom, then you have some of the smaller players. And by the way, some people think they're small players on a relative basis. Then you could go buy yourself an MGM. You could buy yourself maybe a Sony. We haven't really thrown Apple into this or even Google into this, which you could also maybe put into the mix for YouTube and the like. How do you see this playing out? I mean, if you're Viacom right now, do you say that you have to sell yourself to somebody else? Do you say I have to buy? Are they in a position to buy somebody else?
It's a great question. I mean, I remember, not that long ago after the ViacomCBS deal, we were all here having similar conversations about what would come after that. Now, the name at the top of the list at that time, Discovery, has now made their move. I think bankers are certainly hoping that'll create a little bit of a FOMO effect on the other companies. And I think if you go down the list of the names that come up most frequently, you hit it on the head. I think Comcast and Viacom are the ones everybody will be really focused on right now.
Craig, would the market cheer a deal if Brian Roberts decided to buy Viacom? And I'm not sure that Cherry Redstone right now is selling, and I'm not sure Brian's buying. But if that were to be the case, how would the market react?
Well, so, Andrew, I think a lot depends on the verb you chose there, buy. I think the market would cheer a combination of Comcast's NBCUniversal unit with something of scale so that they gave it a little more heft. Because I don't think Peacock can be considered one of the major winners here yet. It's just not big enough, not global enough yet. But I'm not sure they would like the structure of buying it. And the fit with Viacom is really problematic. It's not to say there's nothing there that helps. But remember, when Discovery sold off yesterday as the course of the day went on, it was sort of through this kind of gradual acknowledgement over the course of the day that as sexy as the streaming platform is, there's a lot of old line assets there, TNT and TBS being kind of most important at Turner, that are really kind of structurally poorly positioned, that they're going to have to manage through as they make the transition. The same thing would be true if you tried to put Viacom and Comcast together. And then you have obviously two overlapping broadcast networks from an antitrust perspective. That can't be, so you'd have to separate those. The studios fit reasonably well together, but not as well as the Warner Brothers studio would have fit with Universal. So I think it's not really an ideal fit in some ways.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.